Minister of Conservation and asks, what criteria and processes will she use to evaluate any land exchange proposed by Meridian Energy for the area of public conservation land it wishes to flood for its proposed Mokihinui hydro scheme?
Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Wayne Mapp.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Conservation, the processes and criteria set out in Section 16A of the Conservation Act 1987. These are also guided by Conservation General Policy 2005 and other relevant statutory documents such as the West Coast Taiputini Conservation Management Strategy. The key criteria set out in Section 16A is that the exchange will enhance the conservation value of land managed by the Department and also promote the purposes of the Act. Land exchange applications are processes that are operated consistently with the departmental procedures. And
Kevin Hague.
Supplementary, Mr. Speaker. What land currently outside public conservation land could possibly offset the drowning of 300 hectares of irreplaceable river gorge habitat for kiwi, blue duck, kaka, falcons, giant land snails, native bats, long-finned eels, all of which currently live along the Mokihinui River?
The Honourable Dr. Wayne Mapp.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Conservation, the member may be aware that an application was made and then was subsequently withdrawn by Meridian Energy. That particular application was released under the Official Information Act, and I'm sure the member has a copy of it.
Point of order, Kevin Hague.
The supplementary question asked what land would actually fit the Section 16A requirement, and the Minister hasn't addressed that question at all in his answer.
I've got to confess I thought the Minister's answer was a fair way away from the question asked. I invite the member to repeat his question exactly, let the Minister hear it and provide an answer to the House.
Yeah, thank you, sir. What land currently outside the public conservation estate could possibly offset the drowning of 300 hectares of irreplaceable river gorge habitat for kiwi, blue duck, kaka, falcons, giant land snails, native bats and the long-finned eels that currently live along the Mokihinui River?
The Honourable Dr. Wayne Mapp.
On behalf of the Minister of Conservation, of course, this application has not been considered by the Minister, so it would be inappropriate for the Minister to make a comment prior to the application. The reason I mentioned the official information request, of course, that did deal with land that Meridian had offered, and that application was withdrawn, as the questioner may well know.
Kevin Hague.
Supplementary, Mr. Speaker. Is she familiar with a land care research report tabled in this House in 2008 that concluded that it is impossible to offset the biodiversity loss that this dam would cause? And if so, does she accept that land care research advice?
The Honourable Dr. Wayne Mapp.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister, I cannot say whether or not the Minister would be aware of it, but the Minister, of course, is well aware of the application. The Minister cannot make comment at this stage that would actually prejudice her consideration of the application, or a future application in fact, since she is the decision maker, and thus public comment on the merits would actually be inappropriate.
Kevin Hague.
Supplementary, Mr. Speaker. Is it the case that Meridian has withdrawn its first land exchange offer because that offer was firmly rejected by the West Coast Taiputini Conservation Board and the Department of Conservation? And if so, why was it rejected by her department?
The Honourable Dr. Wayne Mapp.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister, as I indicated, that the original application was made and released under the Official Information Act, and it is correct that the department did not recommend that this particular application be accepted because it did not meet the criteria of the Act. At this point in time, there is no other application by Meridian. It's also worth noting, Mr. Speaker, that this issue is yet to go through the Environment Court appeal processes, and as the member will probably know, the department is not supporting that appeal.
Kevin Hague.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can she give a single example of land that would represent an acceptable exchange and is not already protected?
The Honourable Dr Wayne Mapp.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister, it would be inappropriate to answer that question because that in effect would be looking to prejudge the merits of the application.
Kevin Hague.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does she agree with her colleague Jerry Brownlee, who last year told a Nelson audience, and I quote, "The Mokihinui will not go ahead. I don't think you are going to see any large-scale dams built in the foreseeable future."
The Honourable Dr Wayne Mapp.
On behalf of the Minister, the member may be also aware that the Minister, Jerry Brownlee, also indicated that such comments were being taken out of context, and indeed, in any event, the Minister of Conservation has the statutory authority to deal with any applications, and indeed she must act statutorily.
Kevin Hague.
Supplementary, Mr. Speaker. Does she accept that there is no land exchange which could meet the criteria that she needs to apply, and therefore couldn't she save an enormous expenditure of time, effort and money from all parties, including Meridian, by ruling out any possible land exchange right now?
The Honourable Dr Wayne Mapp.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister, I've actually already answered that question. To give an answer would actually be preempting her decision in any potential application, and she must apply the criteria set out in the Act and therefore act in a statutory manner.
Kevin Hague, point of order.
A point of order, Mr. Speaker. I seek leave to table a document that provides a link to an audio recording of Minister Brownlee's comments that I've cited in the House from the Nelson Mail service.
From the order, there should not be interjections. I take it this is to link to a newspaper article?
Yes, sir, it is a newspaper article.
We won't be doing that. Question number 7, Sandra Gowdy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister of Career